Welcome to another great episode
Hammering away. Holy crap.
Life
Sorry.
in the Pocket. What did you show him?
I was looking for that thing I was talking about, and I found a picture of me when I was really fat. I was big.
I don't even remember that, Coleman.
Yeah, Evan said the same thing. He was like, I don't think I knew you then. And I was like, all right, cool. Sorry.
Anyway.
I didn't mean to completely ruin the flow here.
We're here.
It used to be really big, guys. Wait, where's the camera?
It's right there.
Oh, snap.
I looked at the camera and it wasn't there.
So, it's another great episode of Life in the Pocket. We are here, McCaslin, Coleman,
Yes.
and myself. And just a couple things, as always. Follow us if you don't follow us. I'm getting kind of tired of saying this.
If
but
you
I feel
don't
like
follow us, Coleman will eat you.
Oh, no.
That's
baby.
So yeah, subscribe if you're listening on Apple Podcasts. Follow us if you're listening on Spotify or wherever you're at. Just make sure you figure out how you'll get notifications when we put new episodes out. On YouTube, you can subscribe if you want to watch this on video. If you've been listening through the pod and you want to see Big Coleman, then you can need to go over to the
Coleman.
YouTubes and you can witness that picture.
Also, I watched, like a couple of the videos from prior weeks, and I literally, my hand might as well be glued to my face because I touch my beard
Constantly.
constantly, eternal, just indefinitely, forever. I'm always doing something. So,
That's the secret to his beard growth. It's just constant stimulation.
well, I am just I'm very a particular person, not
did write it down.
diagnosably OCD, but I'm I was like, oh my gosh, I need everything to be laying flat. But I'm not touching my face today.
Right.
Maybe once
We'll
or
see.
twice, but I'm making a
this is McCaslin's
commitment.
Reformation.
I'm making a commitment.
I have a question.
So hold me accountable, guys.
This can it could be very quick. What do you guys think? This is slightly spiritual. What do you guys think about people who get baptized, like they get saved and baptized when they're a kid, and then later on, like when they're in high school rather, and have another experience with God, get saved again and then get baptized again?
Wow, that's a loaded question.
What do you mean, what do I think about them?
spiritual.
I
what do
hate
you-
all of them that do that.
No, I'm not. I'm saying what do you think? I'm not saying it's a wrong thing to do. I mean, I get it, but do you get which one counted?
The most
So,
genuine one. I don't know.
Which one counted?
Which one counted?
Do
man?
you believe that their baptism was salvific in nature?
What I'm saying is, I'm talking about people who get saved, not. Well, it's just wording because some people call it rededication.
Sure.
Some people get rededicated 15 times because they become a Christian and then they don't act like a Christian and then they go back to camp and they become a Christian again.
Have you seen the Babylon Bee meme about kid gets saved at camp for the 15th time and is sure this is the one?
This is what I'm talking about.
Well, so I don't know. We can talk about that. I mean, I was baptized
Twice?
Well, yes, but not in separate times of my life.
Okay.
They
dunked you twice, bro?
Listen, I'm not going to spoil it
I
because
was sprinkled and dunked.
we're going to get
good.
into mine and
Okay.
Coleman's construction stories.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and say this.
Mash first because I want to hear about
Okay.
the double dunk.
Yeah, the double dip. No double. Hey, double dipping? I'm okay with it.
There you go.
Hey, have
All
you ever
right.
thought about this? If you get baptized twice, it just canceled out.
Don't say that to me because I'll lay awake at night thinking about it.
I didn't tell you.
It
Did I put
canceled
that in my
out.
construction story where I went to the pastor and said, I've been sprinkled. If the sprinkled was valid and now I get dunked, will the two baptisms cancel out?
Yeah, what if you guys are wrong?
And he was like, are you
That means
really
you're gonna have
asking
to
me
go
this
for a
question
third
right now?
It means you're gonna have to go for a third,
gonna
bro.
have
Three-peat.
to.
You got to make it a different version of baptism, though. You've gotten dunked
different
and
method.
sprinkled. Is there what's a third method you could go with for the third time?
Jello.
Jello
It's
baptism.
water based.
Immersion, and then there's a whole bunch of dumb words. Look at me touching my face,
Su-
guys.
what
You're
about
supposed to be
a
holding
super
me
soaker?
accountable.
Super soaker baptism.
No,
Oh, you're trying to
that's
really
you,
get
Mash.
creative.
We're not trying to make you different.
Well, no, I was really looking for another like actual
I
thing
can't-
that
I
people
can't-
do, but
I
I
can't
can't
think
think of
of
one.
any.
Yeah.
Oh, you can do the WWE baptism.
Dude, that
or the
video
slam
is
dunk you.
amazing.
Let's
Oh,
do it. Let's go.
My gosh.
Hey, just to say though, I guess in my opinion, because camp experiences nowadays are so emotional, and you'll have a
Yeah.
speaker. I mean, a lot of them are emotional, but I mean, I guess just once the one that actually does stick and life change happens, I would say that's the valid one.
Word.
That's my short answer.
I love it. I love it. We'll get into it with Mashers Double Dunk.
So here's a question,
Double
because
slam.
this is so life change. Obviously, we would say pretty textbook. A truly redeemed heart will yield fruit. There will be life change. For an adult person, or for the person who is addicted to drugs, getting drunk every night, sleeping with whoever walks by. Like,
Yes,
Wow.
sir.
what?
Yes, sir. Is this your
Whoever.
testimony, bro?
No.
Okay.
No. I'm getting
Sorry,
this,
sorry,
I'm making
sorry.
a point.
Gotcha.
So for that person, life change is very easily what's the word I'm looking for? Like
Definable.
measured and
Yeah, sure.
seen.
Yeah.
Because it's a very stark contrast. For that person, there's a lot of things that are ready to be changed. So
Yeah.
it's very easy to see.
I know where you're
Oh
going.
yeah,
with
life
this.
change.
Yeah.
So my question for you is, for the 6-year-old that gives their life to Christ, what does life change look like for a 6-year-old that already just didn't act like a piece of crap to begin with?
Right. Yeah.
What does life change look like for them?
That's a good question.
Well, is life change based on what we view? Like,
Well,
what
by this
view?
we see that a person is justified.
I know, but internally, you can't really see the life change of a 6-year-old.
That's true.
I mean, you could probably see that he stops biting little kids, maybe.
He might.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what if he didn't? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is that I am slow to discount those young conversions. Number one, because I was one, and number two, because of that.
Yeah.
Because for a 6-year-old, they don't have all these like paramount sin struggles and temptations in their life.
Yeah.
It's like their biggest temptation is like not sharing their freaking goldfish.
I'm not
at
discounting
snack
it,
time.
bro. We're going to
But-
get into mine.
Okay, what about this question?
Okay.
So, as a 6-year-old, when you're saved, we're talking about the process of salvation. Is salvation one event, or is salvation
A process.
does it happen over time? What was that?
You want to talk about the Ordero Salutis, brother?
Yes. So, you got, what is it? Sanctification, justification,
So this is
all
the
the
textbook answer.
justifications. But here's what I mean.
You're
by that.
justified in one moment
Okay,
forever.
so you're justified in one
You're
moment.
vindicated in one moment.
But
forever.
sometimes I feel like
Amen. Just once.
sometimes
Not over and over.
and over again.
If you're a fan of this show, you understood that reference.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but what I'm saying is, if you think about it, like, so let's say I'm the drug dealer. I'm 30. I've lived a life. I've killed 7 people. I've done millions of pounds of drugs. Just pounds. Pounds upon pounds of drugs. Okay.
We're
And
talking
I've-
Advils, Tylenols,
all kinds.
Reefer,
Flintstone gummies.
Yes.
gummies. You went with
Wait.
the gummies, bro?
Wait.
Yikes!
Does Flintstone even come in gummy form?
Yeah.
Because I
They do?
only ever had those nasty chalky.
no,
they
the
got
chalky
Flintstones.
ones are it.
No,
dude.
they got Flintstone
the
gummies
chalks,
too,
the
bro.
the classic
I've been
orange,
living a
orange
lie.
container. The orange actual vitamins are the best ones, no
okay.
doubt.
Okay.
Grape is pretty good.
They
too.
kind of tasted like throw up. I'm not gonna lie.
Anyways, for that
nah,
person
dude.
who's doing pounds of drugs and just doing tons of
pounds.
people, everybody that walks by, they're
Doing it.
doing them.
They're doing drugs. They're doing people.
So that person in that moment will experience justification
Yes.
or vindication one time,
once and for all.
and
Over
then
and over.
their life will change. Now, I'm not saying that they will stop doing all of those people and stop doing all those pounds of drugs. They might cut the drug poundage in half. Okay?
Right. It's not instant.
But there's
Drug
a change.
poundage.
It's gradual. It's
And then-
lifelong.
Exactly. And there's still where if a textbook salvation would be that person is going through the process of sanctification where they're just throwing off those sins as they go through life.
Yeah.
And so, but what if that is the same way of a 6-year-old where that moment still happens, but there's really just not that much to view on the external, and then they will have moments in their lives where that 6-year-old just gets offered a pound of drugs, and he's like, I'm saved. I don't need a pound of drugs. Not that that's how he would respond.
Yeah.
I'm saved. I don't need to pound them drugs.
Where so the foundation was laid to correct
Yeah.
future decisions.
I'll
whereas
just I'll just tell my construction
Yeah,
story.
let's
if you
Let's
want,
go. Yeah,
because
let's get into
it's
MASH.
directly related to this.
But before he
Pounds
does,
of drugs?
don't forget
No,
to
no,
go
no,
and
no,
check
no.
out William Payton. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
Just
type in the
joking.
code.
We're
Type in
not-
the code. ColeBaby20.
Here, let me.
Hunter's got the
Ooh.
Costas.
No, these are Shady Rays. They're plastic, $25, polarized,
Guys,
and they'll give you free.
We're not. This is not real.
This is not an ad.
This is not an ad. We just
it
talked about
sounded way too
sunglasses.
much like an ad.
Well,
But-
the other one, when I re-listened to that episode where we talked about these, it sounded just like an ad.
yeah,
Like,
this is
just
even
like
worse though.
one.
No, these are Shady Rays. The frames are made of a polymer blend, and like
that helps them not slip off your face when you're
Anyway,
doing your activities.
The point is when you said that, I
when you're
went
doing
looking
pounds
for a
of
pair
drugs, these will not fall off.
because
they
when,
are resistant to cocaine dust.
I
they
used to
flake
buy
right off.
expensive glasses. I used to buy Oakleys all the time, and you lose them.
Sounds just like an ad.
No, this is
I used
serious.
to buy those expensive glasses, and now
Not anymore.
Shady Rays.
I can
only
tell you the type. I would
Sweet
buy
Shady Rays.
Oakley flak jackets. Okay.
Oh yeah, the
And,
classics.
Yeah, they were awesome, but once you
Expensive
lose
as
them, it's
frick.
just like boom down the drain. So I don't buy
You lost your sunglasses down a drain?
no like it's just
Oh, money down the
Big
drain.
drain.
Sorry,
That's
a
big
big
drain.
I made a vow where I don't buy. So what I would do is I just go on Amazon. There's like a $12 pair that I used to get. They're actually really nice. I don't remember the brand, but
Not
I would
Shady
buy
Rays,
that.
though.
No, not Shady Race. I'd buy that, and then once I lost it, I just buy another $12 pair because
Yeah.
they're nice. Well, these, it's not an ad, but they're $25, and they'll give you up to 3 pairs, whether you lose them, quote unquote, or break them.
Whoa.
So like technically, I could get 4 pairs.
So
of
you're
these.
paying like $8 for
Yeah.
for 3 pairs
Anyways.
or for a pair.
Anyway, I
I like
paid
it.
way too much for prescription Ray-Bans, but I'll tell you, I'm never going to lose those suckers because I treat them like a freaking
Yeah.
Ark of the Covenant. I mean, they are.
Holy cow.
Wow.
It's
Anyway,
a lot.
okay,
Anyways,
now
so
but how did you get saved at?
Yeah.
let's cue
What's
the
your construction
let's
story?
cue the dramatic intro music into the construction story.
I like the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, like
yeah,
yeah.
something dramatic.
We'll input something there.
introductory.
something.
Yeah.
We're gonna put something
It's playing right
right
now.
We just automatically volunteered Hunter to do more work.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Well,
it
it's going to be
happened.
really gay. I can already tell you that. Sorry. It's going to be very.
We're gonna cue mine up before
Silly.
the show.
Yeah,
and it's gonna be
silly.
great.
Okay, so my construction story,
Go.
which I mean, this is just the reason I'm not an atheist, I guess.
Yeah.
like it,
Yeah.
the simple description.
If you're just now tuning in, you probably need to go look at the Rhett and Link Deconstruction Story podcast. It's like 2 or 3 podcasts before this one. And then you'll see my construction story podcast. We're continuing that vein. So this is why we're not just like calling it a construct. There's a reason. Anyways, continue.
Yeah. Which just to preface all that, I mean, like, there's no, because we kind of talked about how we wanted. This is almost like an antithesis to the deconstruction stories.
Yeah.
Of Rhett and Link. Like, this is why. But like, my story is not paralleled to theirs in any way. I mean, it like I relate to them very strongly in the sense that I'm very much like I'll say I'm an intellectual. I'm not trying to say like I'm smart. I just mean like I get it. Like
I'm an intellectual, guys.
like no, like worrying,
I'm pretty smart.
thinking and worrying about all of those like huge questions that eventually derailed their
Right.
faith journey. All the same questions that I'm dealing with. It's literally just a matter of Like, I will never go where they went.
Like, why do we park in a driveway but drive on a parkway?
Those are big
Yeah.
intellectual questions that we have.
You know what? There's no way God's real with a question like that out there.
What about the fact that an orange is called an orange and its color is orange?
Yeah, but banana.
And nothing rhymes with it
Yeah.
except door hinge.
Door hinge. That's right. Okay, so as we alluded to earlier,
You can tell me and Hunter are much more intellectual than Mash.
dude, yeah. And go ahead and look out for a few double entendres.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Be on the lookout
during
for a
this story.
DO, as I like to call him.
Isn't it an EDE?
I know it's E.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't even spell.
I used to always envision it before I knew the word that it started with 2 O's.
I didn't even know what that word was until Mash said it. On
I didn't
the
either.
podcast.
So you can't even blame me for thinking it started with an O.
All right, so this is what happened. Little background. I grew up in a household where, first of all, the Christian faith definitely a part of my background, my life. Since day one, it's been a vein that has flowed through my story, okay? But not because I grew up in the perfect, pristine
Right.
household where I was in Sunday school every single Sunday, and that's just what I did. My grandparents, on my mom's side, are Southern Baptist to the core. My grandpa has spent many, many years with the Southern Baptist Mission Board, has built over 200 churches across the South.
SBMB?
Yeah, man. My mom was a preacher's kid, but to my experience, it was kind of this thing where, you know, my mom, I also have to remember my mom listens to this podcast. So I'm not trying to like paint either of my parents in a negative light, but the truth of the matter is my mom erred on the side of, she wanted to make us go to church. You know, she's like, we need to make sure
Thanks for that, Paul.
our kids are in church. My dad erred more on the side of, I don't want to force them to go to church, you know. Sort of to the effect of, you force them to sit in church, they'll resent it later on. So there was kind of that, but that just led to, you know, like I said, it wasn't like a super pristine, like I was in church every time the doors opened as a kid. But as a kid, I was already asking the big questions. And
The
I don't
intellectual questions, if you will.
really though. I mean, Paula, I'm
Mash
sure
always had a big brain.
The ones we stated before.
if
like
you
the
look,
orange
I
and
had
the
a big
parkway.
head, okay? Even as a child.
Did they call you Big Head?
No, they didn't call me that. But so, for example, this is just kind of a couple famous stories.
Famous.
VBS rolls around, and the whole theme is like God of second chances. Okay, so we're vibing on that all week,
Word.
and then
That's an interesting VBS theme.
yeah, and also the VeggieTales Jonah movie.
Oh yeah.
When they're in the whale, like all the angels are in there singing like, "Our God is a God of second chances."
Nice. So y'all watch that like every day?
Yeah, and I watched that and
Yeah.
then literally, like I feel like it was the actual Sunday that ended VBS. The pastor of the tiny little church that I went to as a kid,
Galilee Baptist?
Weldon Baptist Church, he preached on Uzzah and the Ark of the Covenant.
That's not even in the Bible.
It actually is, Hunter. So for those of you who don't know, Uzzah is the man who, when transporting the Ark of the Covenant, the Israelites were commanded not to touch the Ark of the Covenant. So while carrying it on their like support rods, the Ark of the Covenant was slipping and falling to the ground, and Uzzah reached out to catch the Ark of the Covenant and keep it from falling to the ground, and was struck dead in that moment.
Word.
So my question as a 5-6-year-old was, why didn't Uzzah get a second chance? I thought God was the God of second chances.
Dang. Oh my God.
And I mean, you're a parent. What are
Yeah.
you going to say to your kid
Bro,
when
I'd
they
have
ask
no
you that?
explanation for that.
Exactly. All they could do was divert my attention.
Yeah.
I would say, listen, little Johnny, God didn't like Uzzah.
Uzzah
Uzzah.
didn't listen to God.
And when you don't listen to God, you get
It's tr-
struck down.
I can understand the dilemma though. After all week having been
Yeah.
told the second chance deal,
Yeah.
and then Uzzah.
That's
yeah.
all I knew. That's
Maybe. Hey, this is what I'd say. Maybe he was on his second chance.
hey,
we don't
could have
know.
been.
Could
Anyway,
have been.
Anyway, so
Or his fourth chance.
Well, yeah, it could have
That
been on his
kinda thing.
19th chance.
I also
Uzzah could have
said-
been a Uzzah.
I also told my parents I don't believe God talks to people anymore because if he was talking to anyone,
How
he would,
old were you?
He
He
would
would've
be
told
talking
Uzzah-
to me.
Oh.
No, he would have been. I was like, God doesn't talk to people because I don't hear God talk to me.
How old were you?
I think this was before. We moved here when I was 8 years old.
So you were 8, 9, 10?
No. And I got saved at 6 years old.
Nice.
But basically,
So-
you're a mini John MacArthur.
I don't want to call myself
an
that.
intellectual.
Do not let the record show that I'm a mini John McCarthy.
An intellectual. He's gonna guys.
5 or
he's
6
gonna
years
figure
old.
out the Parkway driveway deal. He's
Anyway.
gonna get it.
But and speaking to the whole concept of construction, spirituality was very much a part of my young life, even though I didn't even know, I wouldn't have ever called it that. But this is just a little, I might have mentioned this on the episode when we talked about dreams, but I have a younger brother, and at 5, 6 years old, I had these horrific nightmares of
Those are some killer episodes.
Yeah, those are really good.
yeah. And I'm basically gonna leave my story at where I started that story. So go listen to those episodes if you haven't.
Gotcha.
But I had terrible nightmares of my little brother like dying in super specific and like graphic ways. But I was extremely sheltered. Like I wasn't allowed to watch anything. We also lived out in the woods. Like I didn't play video games until later on.
Wait, so if you were sheltered, what was graphic? Like, was it like what you would say graphic is today, or you're saying your sheltered version of graphic?
No, I'm saying it was violent and graphic,
Okay.
and that's bizarre because I didn't have any sort of exposure to those types of images. So it was bad news. But my mom and like prayed over that, did a little oil deal, just prayed against that, and never had another dream like that again. So just
Wow.
that kind of thing. Before I had any real understanding, it was a part of my life. And so at 6 years old, here's my very basic salvation story. And I do believe it can be this simple. I realized that, and I didn't just I don't know where, I don't know if it was like Sunday night church or whatever, but I did not like walk down the aisle at the end of EBS week. But in our living room, I had come to the realization that I had sin. And this is the major difference between the person who, because like I said earlier, the 6-year-old doesn't have these major sin struggles on the daily. So what I really didn't understand was like temptation and habitual sinfulness and like choosing sin. But what I did understand was original sin, even though I would have never called it that, obviously. I understood that
But not like doing a pound of drugs sin.
Right. What I understood at 6 was I have sin, not because I'm different from somebody else, but because we all have sin. And that's a deeper conversation, whether or not we believe, did I have guilt? When did I'm not saying at 6 years old I had never sinned. That's not what I'm saying. But at 6 years old, I understood that, there's a sinfulness inside of me and sin on my record. And all I know right now is that if I die tonight, I'm not going to be able to spend eternity with God because I have that sin. That sin is separating me from God. And so, well, that sounds real terrible. How do I fix that? You know, how I don't want to die and go to hell, you know.
Don't want to be Uzzah.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Did Uzzah go to hell?
We don't know that for sure, but he was on his 5th chance. I mean,
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I mean, where do you go at that point?
yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so I mean, my dad leads me, I mean, for lack of a better word, leads me through a prayer for salvation, you know. Well, it's really easy to get rid of that.
Wait. So
What?
it's as easy as saying a prayer?
It's as easy as meaning it in your heart.
Okay.
Bingo.
All right. So,
Nice.
I was just clarifying that for the
Yeah.
audience.
well, and the point is I asked for that, you know.
Yeah, I'm
Sure,
not saying that once you said a prayer, it's immediately invalid, because how
Yeah.
dare you, but I was just
right.
clear.
So, I mean, my dad tells me simple gospel, Jesus died on the cross to pay the price and purchase forgiveness for all of those sins that you have and all the sins you'll ever commit. And all you have to do is ask, you know, profess him as Lord and ask him into your heart, and you'll be forgiven of that sin. And I'm like, hot dog, I want to do that, you know? So my dad leads me through that prayer. I'm obviously like bawling on the kitchen floor. I mean, very emotional. And then the double dipper comes in here,
Nice.
where
Nice.
my grandfather, as I said, you know, pastor, church builder, has baptized all of his grandkids. But I, you know, at my conversion, I'm like, what's next? Like, I need to get baptized. I'm trying to get baptized like right now.
Like, Grandpa, get in your jalopy and get over here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I don't have time to wait. You know, I'm not trying to set up a meeting. So we went to the mooring sport boat launch, and my dad baptized me in the river at the boat launch
Nice.
because
Sick.
I wanted to be baptized immediately. And then the double dip comes in, where I also was baptized by my grandfather in front of the church at Weldon
Gotcha.
Baptist Church, because
Oh,
you're
so there
telling
was no like rededication in between.
No.
You just canceled it out.
Yeah.
exactly.
You just got baptized twice.
Yeah, I got baptized the second time because, I mean, well, for one, I mean, this is a classic Baptist answer, but like to profess that decision in front of all the people at
Question.
my church.
When you get to heaven, if you had the opportunity to be like, all right, Jesus, which one did you like write down as being the one that was like legit?
Right. That's what I was asking earlier.
What do you think he would say?
Well, what if I would have died before I got to get baptized?
It's not the baptism.
That's
that
not
saves
the question I asked you.
Well, exactly.
Either,
So
Mash.
why does one of them count more than the other?
That's not what we're asking. It doesn't matter which one counts more. It's which one counted.
Okay, you realize that makes no sense.
Look, okay, I see what you're doing with your theology and your Bible.
your
I'm
intellectualism.
talking about you're with Peter at the pearly gates, and Jesus walks out and he's like, "Sup, Mash? Welcome to the crib."
Yeah.
And then you just like,
And
"Hey,
then he's like, hey, tell me about when you got baptized. And you're like, hey, well, I kind of got baptized twice. And he's like, twice?
Coleman.
he's like,
don't
I only
do
have it
that.
written down one time."
Yeah.
Well, Coleman, let me ask you this. When Peter asks you why he should let you into heaven, are you going to tell him because you were baptized
No.
on this day?
Okay,
You're
see,
gonna
no,
tell-
he's going here
See,
again.
that's not what we're saying. That's not what
We're
saying.
talking about having
It's
just
not
a
the
general
baptism that saves
conversation
you.
with Jesus. Okay, we're not talking about the moment of when you get let in. We're talking about after all that, after you've seen everybody die and you're
this is-
crying.
oh my
and
gosh.
now everything's good. Everybody's vibing up in heaven, you know. And you're just like, "Hey, Jesus, by the way, which one counted?"
He won't answer it.
I don't even understand the question. I don't know what counted means. What do you mean which one counted? Counted for what?
Which,
I don't know, Mash.
yeah,
Okay.
I don't either.
Well, it's
I'm not,
a-
Jesus.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm asking you that.
Yeah.
Well-
you're the one that got baptized once.
I know.
Hey, Hunter did too. But it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
I only
right.
got baptized once. We'll get there.
So I'll just fast forward from that point up until high school. I was really shy. I didn't want to go to like youth group. I didn't. Like, I was deathly afraid of going and being by myself in a group of my peers as like a middle schooler.
Was it because you felt like you couldn't relate to anybody?
Dude, I don't know what it was. I mean, honestly, fun fact, my parents split up twice. And that, I mean, especially like in the early childhood, kind of led to like a lot of separation anxiety. So that could have been part of it, but I was just an anxious, it's not like I wasn't happy as a kid, but like I definitely had I just am an overthinker about everything. And I was also pretty insecure, especially around middle school time. I started getting pretty chunky.
Yeah,
like,
word. Been there.
Yeah, so
I've definitely been there.
Yeah, so I was just not real confident, outgoing especially as a kid.
On that note, I know a lot of people say like, I just got to a point where I didn't care, but then they actually still really did care. I really did just kind of get to a point where I was like, hey, this is life. I'm good.
Well,
what are we talking about?
Being chunky.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, but as a kid, it's like, also kids are so judgmental.
It's different. You were skinny when you were a kid. When I first met you, you were skinny as a
that was probably my
beanpole.
skinniest point, though. Everything before and after that was not.
Oh, well, I didn't know you before, so I can't speak to that. But I
wasn't like ginormous, but I had some tubs on me.
Yeah, so both my brothers, I'm not trying to interrupt your story, both my brothers were very athletic in build and like lean. I was not. I don't know why. Kind of sad. No one made fun of my weight. I was harassed in middle school about having small hands. I think I've talked about this on the podcast before. Literally was made fun
weird
of
thing for kids to
having
make fun
little
of.
hands. And the guy was jealous of me
Of your hands?
No, not of my hands. I was like, quote unquote, dating this girl, and I think he liked her and whatever. And he was a bully, like everybody knew. But like I wasn't like afraid of him or anything. But like he would like wave at me, and he would make his hand to look like this, and he would wave at me like this, like this.
Classic.
That's so rude.
He's listening
Classic.
to this, then he
Hope
knows.
so.
He knows.
But anyway, I don't know. I don't know how much like testimony I want to. I mean, the very simple version is,
We're at 33 minutes.
okay, I'm going to head towards the end of my road then.
Okay.
We'll keep it under 45. Because in terms of construction, like, and this is good. This serves the question that we started this off with about, not the question, but just sort of the discussion of what does salvation look like? Because a lot of people now, and it's honestly led me, like, as deep in as I am, it leads me to like sit there and worry, like, am I really saved? And it's like, yes, I am. And I feel God saying, don't, do not discredit or discount work that I'm able to do in any heart.
It's good.
And obviously because it's especially as I'm like training and trying to become a pastor one day, maybe,
I
like,
thought you were going to say a world-renowned musician.
I thought you were going to say a famous intellectual.
an absolute genius. No, like when I'm thinking about how would I counsel a family with a kid that was my age saying, I want to give my heart to Jesus. And I think the understanding that I had is a good representation of what understanding you can have as a 6-year-old. Because, like I said, I wasn't struggling there was no like lust in my life as a 6-year-old. There was no, and I was a nice, like, despite the fact that pre-conversion I was fallen and sinful in nature, I also was just raised well. I was taught to be a good person.
Right.
So you were a good person.
Yes, I was a good kid, and you can be a good person and not be a Christian. That's the point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
So like,
stuff.
I was already like, I
But
wanted
what
to be.
I'm saying is, you did everything your parents asked you to. Everything.
Oh, I mean, I was pretty.
Even brushing your teeth.
I mean, I'm sure there's a couple nights where I tried to skip it.
Sin, death, Hades.
Uzzah.
See, it's there. You just got to dig a little.
Got him, folks.
We
Don't let him
figured it
squirm
out.
out
The
of
sin
that
was
one.
there after all.
No, yeah,
it was in the toothpaste.
Good person. You didn't even brush your teeth.
Yeah, freaking sinner. Okay. So, but my point being, I won't get into the whole like divorce thing, but I mean, as a kid, it's kind of the worst thing that can possibly happen in your life. In the 4th grade, my parents split up for a short amount of time. And at that, I mean, that was that was just the worst. It's an absolute nightmare. And in that moment, the only maturity I had, like my maturity level was to just beg God to fix it. Right. Like, God, you got to fix this. I can't do this. My parents did get back together. 7 years later, approximately, my parents divorced. At that moment in time, as a junior in high school, the prayer was different. The prayer was not, God, I can't do this. You have to fix this. Like, I can't handle this. The prayer at that moment was, God, I need peace in this situation. I trust you, but this burden is heavy and I need it lifted. Regardless of what it looks like, I need peace, So that's just sort of indicative of growth spiritually. But there's just some major high points in my testimony, my construction story. You have conversion and salvation very young, with very little understanding of the sinful world and temptation in the Christian life. All I know is at this point is that I had sin and I needed to trust the Lord Jesus for forgiveness, and that's the only way that was going to happen. So through my middle school career, elementary and middle school, I know that I'm a Christian. I'm not out here leading devotionals and Bible studies at 10 years old. Okay.
Should have been.
You're right.
Should have.
So all this leads up to the point I'm going through trials. I'm not really super like devoted or studious
But you wouldn't really say that you've mainly just obtained the label as Christian. You're a little bit farther than that.
Right. I wouldn't call it a label. Like I knew, like I went through everything knowing like I'm a Christian. But like, I mean, I don't think it's super uncommon. Maybe if I would have actually gone to youth group, I would have gotten serious sooner, but I didn't because I was terrified.
Youth group sucks. Just kidding.
But the point is, go through all that. Enter high school where I never struggled with like any type of drugs or alcohol. I really just didn't care. Also just wasn't cool. Wasn't really going to get invited to a party anyway. But didn't give a crap about like drinking.
Yeah.
Never drank or tried. Never smoked anything in my life.
Not even 1 pound.
Not even a single pound.
Of alcohol.
Not even a ciggy. Because I just think that's gross. But anyway.
Classic. But you have eaten a raw steak, you hypocrite.
Yeah. Okay. That's another episode. But I'll tell you the one thing I did, the one thing that will wreck even the goodest of kids in high school is freaking whammon. That's WAMEN. Whammon.
That's very
Hey, are
true.
we still on the construction story?
Yes.
Yes. What do you mean?
Whammon.
Women.
Girls, Hunter.
He's talking about
Oh.
girls, bro. Felines.
Okay. Now,
So, but the point of that is up until like at this point, I start to really realize what temptation is, what it means to actually struggle and battle with your sin. And so, without going into too much detail, I had my first girlfriend at 16 in high school, and that's just a recipe for disaster. My parents are divorcing. I have a vehicle and my first girlfriend. I mean, just go ahead and
The trifecta.
let's
if you
meet
will.
tonight.
literally so like like I said, I don't want to get into the nitty gritty because
But mistakes were made.
You were tempted.
mistakes were made, but somehow I still had this like wall, the strongest result. I always laugh. It's so funny to me, like how many lies I told myself, but at the same time, how freaking like,
Dude, I know exactly what you're talking
it's like, no, this is all fine, but like when you start
Can't
talking,
cross that.
That's
like,
the line.
absolutely,
I'm going to hell on that one.
absolutely not.
And yep.
Because I'm a good, like, what do you?
I'm a good guy. I don't do that.
yeah.
But
So you guys, I mean,
But
probably any guy listening has a pretty fair understanding of what I'm talking about.
and girls. Okay.
Maybe.
girls know.
I'm not trying
Don't
to be
sexist.
I'm just saying. I've talked. We won't get into that. So the point is, when all that started, really playing a part in my life. Shocker! Here comes conviction, swinging a big,
man.
a big
Heavy.
right hook.
Heavy.
So there's conversion, and then there is conviction of sin, when sin really starts to rear its ugly head. And at that moment, it was kind of like, I had this moment in high school where I was pumping gas, and I was like, okay, you know what, God? Nobody really talks about that, and nobody really. I especially wasn't going to church. Like, I wasn't going. Like I said, I was never going to any small group gathering or anything like that. But I'm pumping gas. I say, God, like, basically, I'm ready to get serious about this, but I need your help. So let's do this thing,
Get
And
it.
I say amen. And now you guys know I'm a skeptic just in general. Like, especially people running around throwing out the phrase like, God told me this, God told me that.
Oh yeah.
God came down and spoke to my
Which
face.
I'm not saying he didn't. I'm just automatically like, well, did he? Because there is such a thing as our own thoughts and emotions.
That's true.
So anyway, but all that to say, I said amen, and the roof above all the gas pumps has like lights all around it. I said amen, and every light on the roof went off in that
Wrong.
moment,
Can't happen.
except for the one that was above like where I was standing and pumping gas.
like an angel.
Like a movie.
And it was pretty freaking dramatic, and I was just like, whoa. I'm not putting that down on stone tablets. I'm just saying it was
Nice.
You're going to ask Jesus what that was about.
I'm gonna be like, yo, God, was that you?
Or was that a
Be real.
coincidence?
Be real with me. So anyway, that's my basic construction story. And from that point on, that's kind of when I started to really get serious. That led into me graduating, going to tech for a quarter, and then deciding that's around the time I first got into like playing worship music and playing at church. And that all led up to me graduating, going to tech, and that's where my call to ministry happened. So that's pretty much it. I don't know if I've talked about that, but I think I did. I think that because this is where we cross lines into that whole story about the dreams and junk.
Yep.
So go listen to that episode.
Watch the one that talks about, or not watch because we didn't film it then, but listen to the one about Mash's dreams. It's pretty intense.
Yeah. So that's where we end. That's where we pick up.
Cool.
So
'Cause-
one
yeah,
second construction story down, one more to go.
That's right.
Please don't let us down, Coleman. I mean, if it's
Oh.
bad, it's really bad.
It's gonna be.
I wanted to do something different as we end this episode. I want to say this because I'm extremely thankful for these certain people, and that is our patrons.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. We got a new one. I forgot.
Our show is made possible by our patrons.
We would've
This
quit-
is an ad.
We would have quit.
Yeah,
We would have quit long ago.
probably because like
We
when
truly would have.
when it literally was happening, I did the Patreon thing when I was like, all right, I'm tired of paying
At
for
the
this.
end of his rope.
Yeah, I was
folks.
like, I'm not really getting much out of it. And then I was like, we'll just see how this goes. And boom, you came through.
Influx.
You pay. Okay, let me just say this. All right. Chuck. He put his name as Chuck, but Tyler Charles Knipe,
Wow.
Evan Rowan, Evan Wooten, the always faithful Paula Ash,
Absolutely.
Robert McGowan, and the new but not last. Well, he is last, but
Only sequentially.
yes, only sequentially. Derek McClendon are all supporters and the reason that the podcast still goes.
Yeah.
Okay. They give money per month, and that literally helps us make these episodes. I know that you're probably saying, how does it make you sit down and record an episode? Well, it actually costs money to put out podcasts, so shut up. Anyways,
Wow.
They pretty much fund it, and we're almost to the point where I'm kind of debating whether I should hold on a website because we get probably a little, I think it's maybe $7 extra per month, and what I
In terms of like what it costs just to publish the episode.
yeah.
Right.
So we have a surplus of $7 per month, and I think what I'm going to do is probably just buy merch and stuff to give to our patrons in this time.
Heck
That would
yeah,
be
dude.
great
Because they're awesome.
Because I was gonna say, we're kind of like struggling to think of what we can offer our patrons that we're not offering everyone.
Yeah.
And so for you patrons, I mean, we're like broken records over here begging people to engage on social media, but like patrons, send us ideas. Like, be like, it would be really cool as a patron if this was available, or if you guys could do this for us. I mean, it could be dumb. Like, we want to hear you guys. Like, I have no idea. I don't have ideas. That's why we need help. We need suggestions.
Yeah. But thank you.
Yes,
You're the
thank
reason this
you.
show happens.
Yes, thank you so much. You're the best, Paula.
That's right.
Shout out to Paula.
Love my mom.
And the Evan twins.
The
Evan twins.
The Evan twins, yeah.
All right, well, this has been another great episode of Life in the Pocket. Make sure you do all the things I said at the beginning of the video and have a great, wonderful day.
And don't forget to go check out
William.
a slick pair of Shady Rays.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Shady
pairs.
Rays. Just type in LitP in your promo code, and you'll
For
get
95% off of the $23 price tag. Yeah.
The views expressed in this podcast are not. Sorry.